The Colonial Parkway Murders, a string of unsolved killings that took place in Virginia from 1986 to 1989, remain one of the most enigmatic and haunting series of crimes in American history. This report aims to delve into the intricacies of these murders, exploring the victims' stories, the investigation that followed, and the chilling atmosphere that enveloped a local community once perceived as safe. As details emerge and technology advances, questions linger about justice, closure, and the possibility of a serial killer still roaming free. The Colonial Parkway, a scenic route that connects the historic sites of Jamestown, Williamsburg, and Yorktown, is characterized by its picturesque views and dense woods. This seemingly serene landscape became the foundation for one of the darkest chapters in modern American crime. The Parkway, with its fewer exits and winding paths, provided an excellent hideaway for couples seeking romance but also became the haunting backdrop for a series of gruesome murders. The Parkway's historical significance and natural beauty attracted families, tourists, and anyone looking to escape the mundane. However, as whispers of violence permeated through the community in the late 1980s, this tranquil escape transformed into a site of fear and speculation. The murders committed here became a shock to a community that expected peace where love thrived. The nightmare commenced on October 9, 1986, when Kathleen Thomas, a 27-year-old Naval Academy graduate, and her friend Rebecca Andowski, a 21-year-old College of William and Mary student, vanished after leaving a computer lab. Their families feared the worst when the duo failed to return home after a night out together. Days later, on October 12, a pedestrian stumbled upon Kathy's car down an embankment along the Colonial Parkway. The police were summoned and arrived at the scene to discover the grisly aftermath of a brutal double homicide. Kathy and Rebecca had been bound, strangled, and their throats brutally slit, creating a scene that not only horrified investigators but left indelible scars on the minds of their families and the community. As investigators launched an exhaustive search for clues, they discovered that robbery was ruled out as a motive, as both women's personal belongings remained untouched. The police believed that the actual murders had occurred elsewhere, with their bodies moved to the car afterward. In a chilling attempt to hide the evidence, the killer had tried to burn the vehicle, but the effort was unsuccessful. As the investigation into the murders of Kathy and Rebecca continued, the community hoped that the case would be solved quickly. It wasn't, and then less than a year later, tragedy struck again. On September 19, 1987, 20-year-old David Knobling and his girlfriend, 14-year-old Robin Edwards, went missing after a joyful night out. Their families reported them missing when they failed to return, and an extensive search was launched. Sadly, just days later, their bodies were discovered near the James River, revealing the horrific manner of their deaths. The couple exhibited signs of being shot execution style, with Robin having been shot in the back of the head, and David suffering multiple gunshot wounds. The police hypothesized that the killer might have posed as a police officer to lure the young couple out of their car. David's truck was found abandoned nearby, with personal items untouched, indicating robbery was not a motive. Once again, investigators were met with a cold case, replete with questions and uncertainties as leads dried up and clues faded away into obscurity. Just months had passed since the shocking murders of David and Robin when another couple vanished without a trace. On April 10, 1988, Cassandra Haley, 18, and her date Richard Call, 20, both students at Christopher Newport University, were reported missing after attending a party together. The following day, Richard's car was found at the York River Outlook, located just a few miles from where Kathy and Rebecca were murdered. Items belonging to both individuals, including clothing and personal belongings, were discovered inside the vehicle. This time, however, no bodies were recovered, leaving their families grappling with the harsh reality of uncertainty. Investigators presumed the worst, yet hope persisted that Richard and Cassandra might somehow be alive. The lack of physical evidence forced investigators into a state of apprehension and frustration, highlighting a pattern that would only compound fear in the community as police continued to connect these cases to the growing threat of an unknown killer. Memorial Day weekend in 1989 brought with it the fateful disappearance of Anna Maria Phelps, 18, and Daniel Lauer, 21. They were reported missing after their car was discovered abandoned at a rest stop along Interstate 64. This time, the investigation led police down a winding path rife with contradictions. By mid-October, The once again tragic pattern emerged when hunters discovered the remains of Anna Maria and Daniel on October 19, concealed beneath a blanket from Daniel's car. The bodies were severely decomposed, obscuring the true nature of their deaths. And investigators noted possible stab wounds on Anna Maria's remains, echoing similarities found in previous cases. The overlapping timelines and circumstances surrounding the couples amplified speculation that a single killer was on the loose, preying on unsuspecting young lovers who sought privacy on the secluded highway. As investigators tirelessly sought answers, the Parkway became synonymous with horror and suspense, interwoven into the very fabric of the area's identity. The Colonial Parkway murders quickly drew national attention. As investigators linked the cases together, they attributed the 8 murders to the same perpetrator based on striking similarities. All victims were young couples attacked in or near their cars, with nothing stolen and no clear signs of sexual assault. Yet, despite a comprehensive investigation involving over 150 suspects, more questions emerged than answers. The unique MO of the alleged killer posed significant challenges for law enforcement. Each murder bore its characteristics. Kathy and Rebecca were strangled, David and Robin were shot, while Anna Maria and Daniel were presumed stabbed. Such variance led some to speculate if it was the work of multiple killers, complicating the investigation and preventing investigators from establishing a cohesive profile of a suspect. Despite the ubiquity of fear, law enforcement's investigation remained diligent. Press releases were issued, warnings were articulated, and community meetings were held, but the fear that loomed over the Parkway only grew heavier over the years as families and community members alike awaited justice. As time passed, various theories ensued to explain the enigmatic nature of the Colonial Parkway murders. Some speculated that different killers may have operated within the region, leading to the gruesome chain of murders. Steve Spingola, a private investigator, thought and explored the idea that the murders were not connected at all but rather the work of unrelated attackers. He argued that the motive behind each homicide varied, and victims were more often in the wrong place at the wrong time. With advancements in DNA technology, many families maintained hope for closure. In 2018, the public was informed of DNA evidence linked to 3 of the 4 crime scenes, and efforts were made to leverage contemporary resources that could finally connect these unsolved murders to a perpetrator. Casualties of time could be confronted with new methods, forming the basis for renewed hope in the wake of despair. The Colonial Parkway murders left an indelible mark on the lives of victims' families, many of whom have dedicated years to advocating for justice. Families started websites and community outreach programs in hopes of keeping the stories alive, while also serving as a resource for those affected by similar tragedies. The haunting reality of the Parkway also transformed community dynamics. Once considered a serene route, needed discussions about safety and crime became frequent. Citizens began calling for increased awareness and vigilance, forming neighborhood watch groups to combat the fear that gripped the area. The narrative of the Colonial Parkway subsequently morphed from one of romance into a cautionary tale, reinforcing the need for security and vigilance even in seemingly tranquil spaces. Years passed, and the legacy of the Colonial Parkway murders loomed impenetrably over Virginia. However, hope always lingered. As technology advanced, the possibility of identifying a suspect grew more tangible. Families continued to push for the reassessment of evidence, and the media maintained interest, passionately advocating for truth and resolution to each case's lingering questions. The establishment of dedicated social media platforms like the Facebook page run by Kathy Thomas's brother served as a resource for information sharing, dialogue, and continued investigation support. And various experts have weighed in on the potential for resolution in the Colonial Parkway cases. As Ryan Noah Yall, a criminal psychologist, states, self-sabotage from a serial killer might yield an investigation that takes more time to uncover. If they're clever enough to avoid capture, it's challenging to pinpoint a reliable suspect. Despite the challenges, the commitment to finding justice has united families, law enforcement, and the community, ensuring the narratives of those lost continue to receive the attention they deserve. Reconstruction of timelines, analysis of new evidence, and rigorous public discussion have rekindled hope for closure in the years that have followed. The Colonial Parkway murders have become deeply enmeshed in the narrative of crime in America, evolving into a subject of discussion across platforms, books, documentaries, and podcasts. Through media, dialogues focused on criminal justice, profiling the psychology of serial killers, and the sociocultural motivations behind violence have been illuminated. Awareness garnered from these discussions reinforces the importance of understanding such cases in shaping preventative measures for the future. With each passing year, the chilling memories of young lives taken prematurely remain palpable. The Parkway has become a testament to the fragility of life, and while time may not erase the shadows cast by these murders, it continually reminds future generations of the ongoing struggle for answers and the complexities of human understanding. In October 2024, as the community reflects on decades of pain and uncertainty brought about by the Colonial Parkway murders, ongoing advancements in forensic science and increased public interest paint a glimmer of hope. The families remain unwaveringly committed to finding answers and preserving the legacies of their loved ones, solidifying the belief that justice may still be achievable. Anyone with relevant information can call the FBI at phone number 1-800-CALL-FBI, where they can report tips or provide details concerning any known aspect related to the Colonial Parkway murders. Colonial_Parkway_Murders@ic.fbi.gov. This email serves as a channel for sharing information, securely, and directly, with law enforcement. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos.